Shasta Lake reached 63 feet from full pool, up more than 1.5 feet since yesterday.
As of this afternoon, Shasta Lake sits just 63 feet below full pool, rising more than 1.5 feet in a single day. On its own, that figure sounds reassuring. But within California's water management circles, it has triggered something else entirely: concern. Because this rise is not slow, it is not seasonal, and it is not behaving the way water systems were designed to expect. What is happening at Shasta Lake right now is not just recovery from drought, it is acceleration. And acceleration is where stability begins to fracture. Chapter 1. The Surge. No model expected. In just over 2 weeks, Lake Shasta, California's largest reservoir and the backbone of the state's water system, has surged upward by more than 35 feet. Not through gradual snowmelt, not over the course of a predictable season, but through relentless back-to-back storms driven by powerful atmospheric rivers. Hydrologists who have monitored this basin for decades struggle to find a historical parallel. Community leaders refresh gauge readings daily, watching the lake climb faster than planning documents ever anticipated. This is not water returning gently to an empty system. This is water arriving with force. Storm after storm has poured vast volumes into basins that, until recently, sat at historic lows. The speed alone has changed the conversation. Rising levels that once took months are now measured in days. And with speed comes risk. Chapter 2. From drought mindset to flood reality. Just 1 year ago, California was deep in drought. Shasta Lake hovered near 31% capacity. Boat ramps ended in dry earth. Marinas shut down early. Cities debated emergency rationing. Agricultural regions drilled deeper into already stressed groundwater supplies. The state was managing scarcity. Then the storms arrived. Years of drought had baked California's soils dry, compacting them and stripping away their ability to absorb water efficiently. When the rains finally came, the land didn't drink them in. It rejected them. Rain became runoff almost instantly, racing into rivers and reservoirs. The scarcity mindset, where every drop was precious, flipped almost overnight into a scramble to control excess. Infrastructure designed to carefully store water now faced the opposite challenge: how to release it safely without causing disaster downstream. California didn't transition from dry to wet, it snapped. Chapter 3. Pressure on dams, levees, and communities. Across the state, sensors hum continuously. At Shasta, at Oroville, at Berryessa, reservoirs surge past seasonal norms, forcing emergency officials to track every cubic foot per second moving through the system. The question is no longer just how much water is coming, but how much the land, infrastructure, and downstream communities can withstand. Dams were built for balance, predictable inflows. Time to adjust. What they face now is velocity. Downstream, the consequences ripple outward. Rivers back up, levees face pressure from both sides. Floodplains long developed for housing quietly resume their ancient role as overflow zones. In towns near Shasta Lake, relief quickly gives way to vigilance. Roads regraded for drought access now sit underwater. Rural communities with limited resources rush to erect sandbags and makeshift defenses against water that wasn't supposed to be there. Too much water has become the new emergency, and many communities are not prepared for it. Chapter 4. The danger you can't see. What's visible, rising shorelines, submerged docks, overflowing spillways, is only part of the story. The greater concern lies beneath the surface. As reservoirs fill rapidly, pressure builds not just against concrete walls, but within the ground itself. Water tables rise, sediment shifts. Old fault lines experience new loading stress. Geologists caution that sudden reservoir filling, especially after long droughts, can subtly alter subsurface pressures. While this does not guarantee earthquakes, it can contribute to microseismic activity in already stressed regions. Meanwhile, aging tunnels, spillways, and underground systems are pushed harder than they have been in years. Maintenance crews work continuously, inspecting for leaks, erosion, and stress fractures. What once felt like a miracle refill has become a daily exercise in watching for weakness, because when systems fail under pressure, they rarely offer warning. Chapter 5. Infrastructure built for a different climate. California's water system was designed for a world of averages. Predictable winters, gradual snowpack melt, time to react. That world no longer exists. Atmospheric rivers now deliver massive rainfall in compressed bursts. Drought years harden soils. Wet years overwhelm them. Infrastructure built for moderation is now forced to operate at the extremes. At Lake Oroville, engineers monitor spillways relentlessly, rehearsing release scenarios and stress tests in real time. Past failures are not forgotten, and the pace of current inflows pushes even upgraded systems toward their limits. At Lake Berryessa, the rare sight of the Glory Hole spillway overflowing draws crowds and underscores a troubling reality. When emergency escape routes designed for rarity become routine, the margin for error narrows rapidly. Operators face impossible trade-offs: release water too quickly and flood downstream communities, hold too much back, and risk structural failure. There are no perfect decisions, only less dangerous ones. Chapter 6. Abundance, Risk, and What Comes Next. As storms briefly recede and reservoir levels stabilize, at least for now, a quiet tension settles across California. The pause between emergencies. Shasta Lake's 35-foot rise is both a triumph and a warning. It represents renewal after drought, but also exposes vulnerabilities in infrastructure, geology, and policy built for a calmer climate. Research teams compile data. Satellite images reveal shorelines transformed beyond recognition. Models based on historical norms struggle to keep pace with a system that no longer behaves predictably. As one atmospheric scientist summarized it, we've crossed from the era of the probable into the era of the possible, on both sides of the water balance. California now lives between extremes. Every drop can save, and every surge can threaten. The question is no longer whether records will be broken. It's how often and how prepared we'll be when they are. Across the expanded lakes and submerged banks, the answer unfolds in real time, moment by moment, surge by surge. Subscribe for ongoing, science-driven updates on California's evolving water crisis, so you know what's coming before the next surge hits.